Hello, Gem Hunter. What you're seeing on your screen right now might look like nothing more than an ugly rock. No shine, no color, just something ordinary. But inside this dull, dark stone could be one of the most expensive materials on Earth. And that's not an exaggeration. Beneath that rough outer layer, there could be a gemstone worth tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. In other words, if you saw a rock like this lying on the ground, maybe on a trail or near a riverbank, chances are you just walk right past it. You might even kick it without thinking or use it as a doorstop. But that's exactly where most people miss and where the opportunity lies for those who know what I'm about to show you in this video. Because some of the world's most valuable gems are hidden inside the most ordinary and ugly rocks. Rocks with no shine, no vibrant colors. Rocks that nobody wants and to the untrained eye mean absolutely nothing. So if you've ever picked up a rough stone thinking you found something rare, you may have let a small fortune slip right through your fingers without even knowing. Here's the thing. In the world of prospecting, there's one key concept that separates those who find real value from those who only see dirt: the host rock. It's literally the rock where gems are formed or where they've been stored for millions of years, like diamonds. But the problem is, host rocks are deceiving. They rarely sparkle. In fact, most of the time they're dark, cracked, heavy, and completely lifeless. They look nothing like what people imagine when they think of a precious stone. That's why so many people walk right past them without realizing what's inside. Because the average person is looking for shine, clarity, and beauty on the surface. But real gem hunters know the treasure is never in what's obvious. It's in what no one is paying attention to. A rock that looks like coal could be hiding a sapphire. A chunk of hardened gravel might contain a diamond. A broken slab of shale could hold a piece of translucent jade worth more than a motorcycle. And if you know what to look for, you might find these rocks in your own backyard. And that's exactly why, in this video, I'm going to show you 5 of these seemingly worthless rocks. Rocks most people ignore, step over, or throw away. But for those who know what they're doing, these rocks can hide some of the most expensive gemstones on the planet. And if you pay close attention to the signs, you just might be the next person to make one of these discoveries. If you've ever seen a completely black rock with no shine, looking almost like a chunk of coal, just like this one, chances are, you've stepped right over a piece of basalt. It's a volcanic rock, one of the most common on Earth's crust, and also one of the most underestimated. It's ugly, heavy, dark, and often looks totally useless. But what most people don't know is that some of the most impressive diamonds ever discovered were found inside this exact type of rock. Basalt forms when hot magma rises from deep within the earth and cools quickly at the surface. That's why it's so abundant in volcanic regions. Its appearance is irregular, sometimes filled with solidified bubbles, other times compact and rough, with no obvious sign that anything valuable could be hidden inside. But for gem hunters, what makes basalt interesting isn't its looks. It's what it might be carrying inside. You've probably heard of kimberlite, the classic host rock where diamonds are formed, and the one geologists look for first. But here's what most people don't realize. Once those kimberlite formations are exposed to weather, wind, and flowing water, small fragments, including actual diamonds, can break off and get carried into other rocks. And basalt is one of the most common places where they end up. That's because basalt, in addition to forming during volcanic activity, can also trap material from ancient explosive eruptions. During those events, fragments of kimberlite, peridotite, and even fully formed diamonds can get caught inside the basalt as it solidifies. The result? A dull, lifeless, black rock on the outside, hiding incredibly valuable crystals inside. This isn't just theory, it's been documented. In parts of Alaska and Montana, for example, prospectors have found black volcanic-looking stones that, once broken open, reveal diamond crystals inside. The reaction is always the same. How could something so valuable be hidden inside something so ordinary? The answer lies in geology and the unpredictable paths that minerals take over millions of years. There's another important clue. Basalt is often found alongside indicator minerals. One of them is olivine, a greenish mineral that isn't exactly rare, but is often found near diamond-bearing rock. Another is parope, a reddish garnet that can signal the presence of kimberlite nearby. So if you find basalt with olivine or parope mixed in, it might be worth a closer look. In the United States, states with known basaltic formations and documented diamond finds include Alaska, Colorado, and Montana. These are regions where ancient volcanic activity and deep geological shifts created the perfect environment for discoveries like this. And the truth is, most of those rocks are still out there, just waiting for someone with a trained eye to find them. Now think about this for a second. How many times have you seen a black rock on the ground and walked right past it? How many times have you stepped on volcanic stone without even noticing? The truth is, if you've ever stepped on a rock like this and ignored it, you might have missed a diamond and never even knew. And what's most incredible is that these rocks are a lot closer than you think. In places where most people just see piles of volcanic gravel or useless dark stone, a real gem hunter sees an opportunity. All you need is to learn how to read the signs. Now, we're moving from black to gray to a rough-looking rock filled with crystals of all shapes and sizes mixed together in complete chaos. It has no shine, no defined form, and honestly, it looks like a chunk of old concrete pulled from an abandoned construction site. But what few people know is that this type of rock, called pegmatite, is one of the greatest hidden treasures on Earth. Because it's inside pegmatite that some of the world's most valuable and breathtaking gemstones are formed. Pegmatite is an igneous rock, just like granite, but with one key difference. It forms from a much slower and more concentrated cooling of magma that's rich in mineral fluids. And that's what allows giant crystals to grow. While most rocks form small, tightly packed crystals, pegmatite looks like a mess of oversized, warped mineral chunks, as if someone tossed a handful of random stones into one single rock. And it's this strange condition that creates the perfect environment for high-quality gemstones to develop. As the magma solidifies, the chemical elements that form rare gems begin to concentrate in the final pockets. And that's where pegmatites take shape. It's in this mineral-rich leftover that giant pure crystals of tourmaline, aquamarine, emerald, topaz, and other valuable stones are born. Instead of being scattered randomly, these gems grow with the space, time, and pressure they need, which is why the quality of stones found in pegmatites is often far superior. Now imagine finding an aquamarine the size of a bottle, or a tourmaline with intense glow, hidden inside a shapeless rock. That's already happened, more than once. There are reports of mines in the United States where tourmalines weighing several pounds have been discovered, with vivid colors that would impress any jeweler. In other excavations, emeralds so pure were pulled from the rock that their value easily surpassed that of a luxury car. And these discoveries aren't as rare as you might think, especially in places known for pegmatite deposits. In the United States, the states of California, Maine, and North Carolina are true hotspots for people hunting for gems hidden inside these misunderstood rocks. In San Diego County, for example, some of the largest tourmalines ever recorded were found in pegmatite mines. In Maine, huge blue aquamarines have been pulled from pegmatite alongside quartz and feldspar crystals, all embedded in the same block of rock. But the most fascinating part is that, from the outside, these rocks don't look like anything special. A dry, dirty chunk of pegmatite can go completely unnoticed on a hiking trail, or even be mistaken for regular rubble. The key is learning how to spot the subtle signs. Sometimes a green, pink, or blue glint on the surface is enough to reveal the presence of a gem. Other times, it's only when the rock is cracked open that the true surprise appears, and it can change your life. So if you ever come across a pale rock with visible crystals, a rough texture, and a disorganized structure, take a second look. It could be pegmatite, and even if it looks ugly and useless on the outside, what's hiding inside might be something truly precious. Because at the end of the day, that rock that looked like a piece of broken concrete might actually be worth more than a car. If you've ever come across a dark, flat rock that breaks easily into thin, dull flakes, you might have been looking at a piece of schist. At first glance, it seems completely worthless. Its texture feels like a broken roof tile or an old chunk of coal. When you snap it, it splits into uneven layers, leaving behind a bit of gray powder and a fragile, brittle feel. But despite that rough, unattractive appearance, schist hides some of nature's most surprising treasures. Schist is a metamorphic rock formed through heat and pressure over millions of years. And it's that long, slow transformation that allows rare minerals to grow inside it. In certain parts of the world, including right here in the United States, schist contains incredibly valuable minerals like nephrite jade, jadeite, kyanite, and in very specific formations, even the legendary tanzanite. Jade, for example, is one of the most sought-after gemstones in the world, especially in Eastern cultures, where it's considered a symbol of spiritual power and high status. There are two main types, nephrite and jadeite. Nephrite is more common and ranges in color from white to dark green, often becoming beautifully translucent when polished. Jadeite, on the other hand, is much rarer and more valuable, with vibrant colors that collectors highly prize. What's fascinating is that both types can form in specific kinds of schist that have undergone unique geological conditions. And yes, that happens in the United States. In Wyoming, for example, there are schist formations that contain nephrite jade of lapidary quality. Many people pass through those regions without ever realizing they're walking over land with serious jade potential. Another remarkable example is tanzanite, a deep violet-blue gemstone that holds extremely high value on the international market. It's only found naturally in a small area of Tanzania in East Africa, but its geological origins are also linked to schists that contain minerals like zoisite. And even though tanzanite doesn't occur in the US, it's worth mentioning because it shows how important schist can be as a host rock for precious gems. And let's not forget about kyanite, a deep blue mineral that also forms inside certain types of schist. While it's less valuable than tanzanite or jade, kyanite has a unique shimmer and is highly sought after by collectors and those who use crystals for healing. Most interesting of all, it often appears as thin, shiny blue blades glowing quietly inside the dark rock, a beautiful contrast between the raw and the refined. Schist is the kind of stone nobody gives a second thought. It's ugly, it's fragile, but when you cut it in the right place, can reveal something truly stunning. Imagine taking a pile of pebbles in all shapes and sizes, rounded stones, gravel, coarse sand, and fusing it all together with a thick layer of hardened mud over millions of years. The result of this chaotic mix is what geologists call conglomerate. At first glance, it looks like nothing more than a block of construction rubble. But for those who know what to look for, conglomerate can be a geological time capsule and a natural vault filled with hidden treasures. Conglomerate is a sedimentary rock that forms in environments where water once carried fragments of other rocks. This usually happened in ancient riverbeds, drainage channels, and areas with strong debris flow. Over time, those loose fragments were buried, compacted, and cemented together by minerals dissolved in the water. What was once a pile of loose stones became a single rock, a rock made from pieces of others. And it's exactly because of that origin that conglomerate can be so valuable to gem hunters. During the transport and buildup of materials, water can roll precious stones, like gold nuggets, diamonds, rubies, or even sapphires, into these sediment layers. Instead of remaining loose in a riverbed, these gems get locked into the conglomerate and stay protected for millions of years, until someone finds them. And this isn't just theory. There are real records of incredible discoveries made in conglomerate. In the state of Montana, for example, exposed conglomerate in old mines has revealed microscopic diamonds and even sapphires hiding among the pebbles. In Nevada, ancient conglomerate layers have yielded native gold trapped in compacted sediment. And in California, the famous Gold Rush region, there are sedimentary formations where entire gold nuggets have been found stuck inside conglomerate blocks, like treasure capsules sealed in stone. What's fascinating is that many of these rocks are found in forgotten places. Abandoned mining zones, fossilized riverbeds, eroded slopes where rivers once flowed. In many of these areas, modern operations don't even go anymore, but the geological clues remain untouched. And by its very nature, conglomerate may still be holding rare fragments that haven't yet been discovered. Visually, conglomerate isn't attractive. It looks like a messy blend of stones held together by dark cement. Most people ignore it completely, but those who pay close attention might notice something different. A subtle sparkle between the pebbles, a colorful stone locked in the matrix, or an unusual shape hiding in the chaos. These small clues might be all you need to make a valuable discovery. And here's something important to remember. The older the conglomerate, the greater the chance it has trapped rare material over time. The rivers that once ran through those regions millions of years ago are long gone, but they left their traces behind inside these rocks. So if you come across one of these rough-looking formations, something that looks like badly made concrete packed with little stones, take a closer look before you walk away. Among all the rocks people tend to ignore, perhaps none is more overlooked than milky quartz. It's an opaque white with a rough texture and dirty appearance, often covered in dry clay or iron stains. It doesn't shine, it doesn't stand out, and to most people it just looks like another ordinary rock on the ground. But what many don't realize is that milky quartz can hide incredible surprises inside. And sometimes what seems worthless on the outside could be the beginning of one of the most exciting discoveries of your life. Milky quartz is one of the most common forms of quartz, which itself is one of the most abundant minerals in Earth's crust. It gets its name from its cloudy white color, caused by microscopic inclusions of fluid or gas trapped inside during formation. These inclusions scatter the light, making the stone look milky and opaque. But that doesn't mean you should toss it aside. In fact, milky quartz can be a powerful indicator that something valuable is nearby, or even hidden inside the rock itself. There are documented cases where gold nuggets were found embedded in blocks of white quartz, especially in hydrothermal veins, where silica-rich fluids also carried gold. And it doesn't stop there. Some varieties of milky quartz, when carefully opened or broken, reveal inner cavities lined with well-formed crystals, including amethyst, citrine, or even topaz. In other cases, they reveal geodes with hollow centers filled with brilliant, spiky crystals, completely different from what you see on the outside. These visual transformations are so dramatic that people watching the rock being cracked open often can't believe that sparkle was hidden inside all along. What looked like a lifeless chunk of stone suddenly reveals a stunning mineral display. There have even been reports of collectors who found rare crystals hidden in milky quartz blocks that had been thrown away by others. And this doesn't just happen in remote places. Milky quartz can be found in almost every U.S. state, especially throughout the Rocky Mountains, in Colorado, Montana, Idaho, and Utah. These regions are known for their rich mineral veins, and in many cases, it's the quartz that gives away the presence of those underground systems. What makes it even more interesting is that milky quartz is so common, it's often tossed aside without a second thought. Hikers and rock collectors will pick up stones along trails or riverbeds and discard any white chunk that doesn't shine or show color. But that mistake is exactly what separates a casual collector from a true gem hunter. Because learning to recognize the hidden potential in something that looks boring or ugly, that's what makes all the difference. And here's a valuable tip. If you find a piece of white quartz, look closely for natural cracks, small cavities, or even faint zones of brownish or yellowish color. These might be signs that something more is hiding inside that stone, something worth discovering. Now imagine that after watching this video, you decide to explore a hillside near your home, or maybe follow the dry bed of a local stream. Suddenly you spot a strange-looking stone. It's dull, with greenish stains, or maybe a faint metallic shine. You pick it up and notice it feels heavier than it should. On the outside, it looks ordinary, but something makes you pause. And then the question hits. Could this be an emerald, a piece of jade, or maybe even a sapphire? That question is more common than you might think. A lot of people who follow this channel have shared stories just like that: unusual stones, unexpected finds, something that looked valuable but ended up forgotten due to a lack of knowledge. Some people kept the stone for years without knowing what it was. Others sold it cheaply, thinking it was nothing, and some were simply afraid to break it, afraid to be wrong, all because they didn't know how to identify it. And that's the key point here. Finding a rare stone is only half the journey. The real difference is knowing what you've found. Because you might have made an incredible discovery, you could be holding a stone worth thousands of dollars. But if you can't identify it, you'll have to rely on someone else's opinion. And unfortunately, that opinion isn't always honest. The good news is, there are simple ways to learn how to identify gemstones yourself, safely, at home, no lab, no expensive equipment. And that's exactly why I created the book Gemology Journey for Beginners, a complete printed guide made for those who are just starting out. In this book, you'll learn how to perform practical tests for hardness, density, luster, transparency, and more. Everything is clearly explained with detailed illustrations and real examples. You'll understand how to tell quartz from tourmaline, how to recognize a topaz, how to know if a black stone is just basalt, or if it could actually be a real black opal. And if you're lucky, maybe even a diamond. The printed edition is now available and ready to ship. That's right, a complete guide printed on high-quality paper that you can flip through, take on hikes, and use as a reference every time you find something unusual in the wild. And for a limited time, it's available with a special launch discount from $49 down to just $37. But if now's not the right time to grab the book or become a member, that's totally okay. You can still enjoy every new video, subscribe, and keep learning for free. In the next video, I'll show you how to search for gemstones in the most unexpected places. And yes, it's absolutely possible. Thanks for liking and subscribing. Good luck, Gem Hunter!